to hopefully support you in understanding the grading process for the ongoing achievement record and grading for the BSc Honours Nursing Undergraduate Programme for adult mental health and child health students. With the current grading system, practice is graded in Year 2 and 3 of the programme, and this grading contributes to the overall degree classification for the student at the end of the programme. Grading in practice rewards students who demonstrate a high standard of competence and achievement in clinical practice, and who demonstrate integration of management and leadership skills in their clinical placement settings. Students are assessed in competencies identified by the mentor and student for each placement area in Year 2 and 3. The mentor indicates the level of achievement the student has met for each identified competency, and this level of achievement can be from 0 to 6. However, it should reflect the skills, knowledge and values pertinent to the stage of the student's programme, and the student should demonstrate these both in the practice area and within the evidence collated in their electronic portfolio. This is the current assessment tool that is used, and you will find it located in the ongoing achievement record. At formative stage, an overall score is given, and this is in reference to the student's overall performance rather than related to individual criteria. However, at the formative stage, where there are criteria that the student may be struggling to achieve or to demonstrate competency, it is essential that the mentor supports the student in planning an action plan with some developmental goals that the student then can work towards meeting. In the event that a student is potentially failing to achieve at this stage, the mentor should alert the placement development team and the student's personal tutor. It's really important at formative stage that a clear action plan to support the student in achieving the outcomes is developed. So with this assessment tool, the scores are given as 0 through to 6. A score of 0 or 1 is a fail. A score of 2, a satisfactory pass. 3, a good pass. 4, a very good pass. 5, an excellent pass. And 6, an outstanding pass. The comment section below each of the grades gives an indication for the mentor to understand how to apply this to each of the competencies. A clear fail tends to be very easy for a mentor to identify. Other scores are not always so easy. And therefore, it's a recognition that by working with your student and reviewing the evidence that they have collated towards each of the criteria, you can use this to support understanding how the student is achieving. It's also important to recognise that as this goes within Year 2 and Year 3, that within Year 2, the student may be outstanding, and therefore they can achieve a 6. However, these really would be your very excellent students, and it is most likely that you will see more students ranging between the 2 and 5. But again, please don't forget that we do have some very, very good students. If you are undecided and you cannot think whether or not they're a good pass or a very good pass, again, give perhaps the students a little bit more time, giving them an understanding of why you are hesitating regarding being able to make that judgment. And think about different types of situations that a student demonstrates their level of competence. As I mentioned, a minimum score of 2 must be achieved in each competency for Year 2 and 3. In addition, the student must also achieve a pass of 40% or over in the OSCE or ISCE, which is the Clinical Skills Exam, the Skills and Practice module in each year in order to progress to the next stage of the programme. Some frequently asked questions. Can students be graded at 6 if they're in Year 2 of the programme? Yes, if they meet the criteria and the evidence demonstrates that they have that level of knowledge and competence, they can be awarded a 6. If a student is referred in only one criteria, is this a refer for the placement? Yes, it is. It's not the number of the criteria that the student refers in, it is if any of the criteria that are referred. We also have situations where a student is assessed as having achieved all of the criteria, but the mentor still judges the student not to be meeting the requirement for the stage of learning. Can they still refer the student? Yes, but this is sometimes more complex because when you read through the criteria for assessment, it's very unlikely that a student who is at a point of refer will be meeting them all at the defined grade required. So please make sure that you look at each of the competencies carefully. However, your professional judgment still matters, and as long as there is good written evidence within the OAR that demonstrates why the student is not passing or has met a pass, this will be supported. If a mentor does not undertake a formative assessment, does this affect the summative assessment? Yes. Formative assessment is essential to support a student in understanding how well they are achieving. It's also not good enough that if you say, well, actually there was insufficient time to do a formative, but I knew the student would pass. Yes, but at formative stage, if the student could have improved their grades with good feedback and a clear action plan, we are then disadvantaging students if we don't undertake a formative assessment. And unfortunately, there are many situations where a student is referred to summative assessment and there is no evidence to demonstrate that a formative assessment has been undertaken. And in these situations, the student could quite rightly appeal the process and would be supported in doing this. Does the mentor have to see the evidence the student provides? Yes, they do. The evidence supports the depth of knowledge and understanding that the student can provide towards each of the criteria. We appreciate that they now have an electronic portfolio, but it is still important that this is recognised as evidence for practice. We have many situations where a mentor gives a grade 3/4, for example. This is unacceptable. I'm afraid you have to make a decision. Is it a 3 or is it a 4? When you do not do so and the OAR is submitted, the judgment then rests with the personal tutor. So again, this assessment is your responsibility, so please be quite clear in the grade that you are awarding. For those students who fail to achieve, so if the score given is a 0 or a 1 for any competency, then a development plan will be negotiated between the student, the mentor, and preferably either the placement development team member or the personal tutor, to provide the student with guidance on how to develop this skill and competence further for resubmission. During the remainder of the practice placement, the student can work on these referred competencies and in later practice placements. However, resubmission is not done until after the award assessment board of the programme year. The Nursing Midwifery Council and programme requirements state that a student is only allowed 2 attempts at practice, so summative assessments. At present, a refer at first attempt is confirmed at the award assessment board, and students are then permitted to undertake further assessment. As I previously mentioned, the student may continue to work on these referred criteria. However, in some situations, the student is required after the award assessment board to return to the practice setting for a further 4 weeks. If students are referred on a second occasion, this leads to withdrawal from the programme. Following summative assessment in the final placement of Year 2 and Year 3, the student submits their ongoing achievement record on the specified handing date. This calculation of the score is through a ready reckoner, which converts then to a percentage of the student's practice placement for the year. I hope this has been helpful, but if you have further queries, please contact either the Placement Development Team Lead or the student's personal tutor. Details for the personal tutor should be provided on the ongoing achievement record. You will also find contacts on the Poppy site. Thank you very much.